Justin Tinsley, and for lack of a better description, I guess you can call me a writer. Man, as a kid, I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted to be an astronaut, I wanted to be a heart surgeon, but the one I wanted the most, I wanted to be Michael Jordan. I wanted to be 6'6", I wanted to go to North Carolina, I wanted to be the third pick in the draft, I wanted to do everything. Like, I was hook, line, and sinker on the market, man. Be like Mike. Yeah, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be Michael Jordan so bad. Like, you couldn't tell me. I did everything. I ate the Wheaties. I drank the Gatorade. I used to eat Wheaties and drink Gatorade for breakfast. And I had to stop it because it was giving me like stomach problems. But I was hook, line, and sinker. Nike got me. That's what I wanted to be as a kid, Michael Jordan. It's funny. I started writing. I graduated from Hampton in 2008, and I moved to Chicago shortly after that. And in college, I used to kind of be known as the guy who had like all the latest music and whatnot. So the mixtapes, the singles, whatever, I had it. And so once I graduated from Hampton, it was kind of like my friends were still asking me for music. And they were like, well, how can I get the music? I was like, well, I'm going to just start a website. And so I just did that, starting off just posting all the latest songs. But there were so many people out there that were already doing that. So I just started writing, man, and I felt like I had a cool enough voice. I knew how to speak for myself and everything from there. And that's how it started. From 2008, it started from a little website, and now, I still have a long way to go, but I believe I've come a long way as well. Let's see. Well, obviously, I grew up with my mother. I grew up with my grandmother. My uncle John. He passed away in 1999 from colon cancer. He was a really, really big inspiration in my life. And aside from the obvious people little kids grew up idolizing and whatnot, but I really idolized the people I lived with, my mother and my grandmother. They inspired me. They always told me to just, you can do anything you want. And they still tell me that to this day. When times get difficult, when I get stressed out, they always remind me of the same thing. Like, you can do anything you want to do, you just gotta relax and just live life. Because if you live life, everything else is gonna take its course, So that's what inspired me. One single moment, a top one would probably be when I wrote an article on Stuart Scott about, battling cancer, and cancer research and disease has always played a big part of my life, because my grandmother's a breast cancer survivor. My uncle, like I said, he passed away in 1999 from colon cancer, so I've always had like an emotional attachment to that disease and whatnot. And I grew up watching SportsCenter. I think every kid that loved sports, that knew they weren't going to play professionally, wanted to be a SportsCenter anchor, and so Stuart Scott was somebody I always looked up to. And I wrote an article about him, and it was pretty much just me saying, like, hey, I'm praying for you, I support you, and anybody else out there battling cancer, like, well. And I wrote it, and I was actually on a cruise, like, when the post was published. So I came back home, and I checked my mentions on Twitter, and it was unusually hot. Like, I was like, okay, well, something happened. And it turns out he retweeted it, he read it, and he loved it. And that was really cool, man, because it was just kind of like somebody I grew up idolizing. He recognized and he appreciated something that I wrote. But for the most part, man, just hearing people just say they like what I write and I'm one of their favorite writers, man, it's crazy and it's humbling at the same time. It helped me because it showed me like the business side of sports. And while I would love to, get a job in sports, I think that'll be great. It kind of helped me out because it showed me what I really, really want to do as far as like sports and just in everything else. I had a professor that would tell me one time, he read a lot of the stuff that I wrote back then, and he told me, I think you'll be great working PR for a team or doing whatever you want to do, but your true calling is like telling the story of sports. You're telling the story. And so while I got my degree in sports management, it showed me then that I can have a career in sports as well as music as well. I can have a career in that, but my career is being able to tell the story of music. Like I said, man, I had my own website. It was called collegeradiomusic.com, and I love that site to death. And I was, in partnership with two other people, one of them being my line brother, Tay James. And, I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus. It just didn't work out. It was three people that had three different visions and whatnot. And, Tay was blowing up because Tay is actually Justin Bieber's DJ now. So shout out to him. He's one of my inspirations as well. To see how he works hard, and I just want to replicate that what I do. And so, like I said, that's like Crash and Burn. And I've been reading the Smoking Section probably since I was like a junior at Hampton. And I saw they had an ad up there that said Writers Wanted. And I sent some stuff in. I didn't hear anything back for like 4 or 5 months. So I was like, dang. All right, well, on to the next one then. And I commented on an article on the site, and they were like, hey, hit us up in the email again. Boom, boom, boom. One thing led to another. Started writing for the Smoke Section. I've been there ever since. Well, the audience, like the Smoking Section and Karen Civil, they have 2 different types of audiences, but they're both influential in their own aspects. So getting to meet people or whatnot, people that I look up to, people who are somewhat movers and shakers in the world of sports and music. So getting to know them and having them reach out to me, say, hey, I want to work with you on this, or I want you to help me with this, or hey, I'm just a fan of your work, keep it up. That's a perk. Sometimes, like when concerts come into town, I'll be able to get like a media pass. I get backstage and actually get to interact with whoever I need to interact with. So, just media passes and just the brand. Now that Karen Civil, she's blowing up into the superstar that she is, and the Smoking Section is becoming, the Smoking Section is becoming even more of an influential name in its own right in the whole span of pop culture, not just music, but just everything that we cover on there. So it's just that's my favorite perk. You know what? People ask me that all the time as far as like, what do I look for in an artist when they send me music? It sounds crazy, but a proper email. Like, hey, like, don't send me an email saying what's good, like WUZ, good, GUD, and all that. Like, cause like, you want your music to speak for you, but before I even hear the music, before you even hear the music, before anybody else hears the music, they're gonna see your words. And if it's not presented in a proper, context, then they're not even gonna listen to the music. And so, just like when you meet somebody for the first time, you shake their hand, like, hey, how you doing? Boom, boom, boom. And then in the email, don't have the email be super long. And like, don't put, the song is gonna change the game, or don't hype the song up in the title. Just be like, hey, new music. I'd be honored if you take a listen to it. Because that's what I do when I want people to read my stuff. I'm like, hey, I'd be honored if you look at this and go from there. So, and it's really all a crapshoot, man. Because some people just gonna delete the email anyway, but you just got to keep at it, man. Like, if you really love it, if you really love your hustle, you just keep at it. Because all you need is one person to say, hey, I like it, and I post your stuff, and it spreads like wildfire from there. Man, that's a question. What's next for me? That's a question I ask myself every day. It's every day, man. People ask me all the time, like, what do I want to do, like, long term? And it's so hard to tell them what I want to do, and I'm still forming what I really want to do. Ideally, this year, moving forward, next year, and years after that, I just want to be known as like a guy where people anticipate things that I write. I want to get to the point where I don't have to write as much, but I want people to anticipate it. So I want to be known as like a guy like, hey, I don't agree with everything he says, because you don't have to agree with everything I say. I don't want you to agree with everything I say. Debate is a good thing, contrary to popular belief. And I just want to be that guy where I want to cover music, I want to cover pop culture, I want to cover sports. I just want to cover that, and I want people to anticipate and be like, hey, Justin Tinsley, I've been following him for a while. He's improved a lot. He's a humble guy, and I just want to be known as like, what's the word I'm looking for? A connoisseur of like pop culture and just writing and stuff like that, because that's all I really want to do. I just want to leave an impact. I don't need to make Bill Gates money, Steve Jobs money. Like, if it comes, like, I'm definitely not gonna be like, hey, I don't want it, but I just want to leave an impact on the world, so my words can last longer than I do. When my career is over, what would I like my legacy to be? Just, I just wrote from my heart. Some pieces will be great, some pieces won't be, but every time, you knew I brought it every time. I just want people to realize that, I love writing. I love telling the story, and I love hearing feedback. And I just want to not sound corny, man, I just want to be successful, and I just want my words to live longer than I do. And that's all I really want.